Onegaishimasu. Hello, I'm Sensei Belle Isle from Japan Karate Do Ryobu-Kai, New England, here in the United States. Today, I'd like to discuss the contrasts and similarities between the uke techniques and the tei techniques that we have in our Shindo Jinen Ryu curriculum. There's quite often confusion about how these techniques differ and how they may be the same. So let's begin with defining what those sets of techniques are. In Shindo Jinen Ryu, we have essentially what are 5 basic uke techniques. We have age uke, uchi uke, soto uke, gedan barai, which is not called gedan uke, but is essentially part of that group, and shuto uke. We also have age te, uchi yokote, soto yokote, gedan haraite, and shuto te. The names of these two techniques start to give you a sense of their intent. So uke in Japanese translates more to receive. We tend to say it means block in English, but it really means to receive. The mindset behind uke techniques then is really around parrying, deflecting, blocking, interrupting a technique that's coming towards you. It's got a defensive connotation to it. The tei techniques, by contrast, are named for hand. Karate, empty hand. Tei is hand. So an age tei is a rising hand, meaning that it could be used really kind of for any purpose, not just defensively. It's more, it's got a more flexible mindset. It's got a mindset that this could be defensive, could be offensive, could be defensive and then offensive, offensive then defensive. It's a very flexible idea, very flexible concept. Okay? So when we look at those two things, that seems maybe a little bit esoteric, but it does matter when we think about defending with a block versus defending and attacking simultaneously with a tei technique. Let's talk now about execution. So I'm going to skip shuto te and shuto uke because they are executed the same, right? Shuto uke here, shuto uchi here, shuto te here, okay? They all look essentially the same, so I'm not going to spend any time there. But I do want to spend some time on age te versus age uke, uchi uke versus uchi yokote, soto uke versus soto yokote, gedan barai versus gedan haraite. Starting with age uke. Age uke, as we know, starts here, comes up, and snaps into position solidly. Age te, by contrast, will end up in the same position, but get there in a slightly different path. And this is a common theme that you will see in the comparison of these uke techniques versus these tei techniques. So age uke here, age te here. You'll notice there's a whipping motion here, driving in. So not necessarily just receiving, but driving in. The same you'll see in the other techniques when we get to them. So let's just look in contrast again. So first, age uke. Now, age te. Here. Age uke, age te. Okay? It's a subtle difference, and a lot of it is driven by the mindset of going forward with the technique, attacking with the technique. Let's look now at the two center level blocks, uchi uke and soto uke, and their counterparts from the tei techniques. Uchi uke, here and down. Okay? So it's going to start somewhere up here or in here. There's a little bit of variation allowed in Shindo Jinen Ryu, but essentially there's a gravity element here, and it sweeps from this position down across to here. Okay? Ends up basically in front of the other shoulder, 90-degree angle, one fist off your body, all of the things that you know from basic training. But the important thing here is that it's a very linear motion, very linear. Boom. If we look at uchi yokote, yoko, as you know from kicking techniques, means side. So yokote is side hand. And it is delivered using this part here as the striking surface. So not so much just in this frame defensively, more here. So again, whipping motion. So uchi-uke drops from here or shoulder height across the body, covering the torso. Uchi-yokote, by contrast, will actually need to pass through jodan level before it ends up in the same spot that you see uchi-uke ending. There is a tight arc on this technique, out and back. Again, this whipping feeling that this could be an attack with this part of the hand here, or it could be a block very much like uchi-uke. Seen from the side, uchi-uke, here, uchi-uke, here. Uchi-yokote, here, here. Okay? Same thing occurs with soto-uke and soto-yokote. Soto-uke, a linear technique. Here, the technique arm essentially moves in a straight, in a very flat arc, almost linear. Soto-yokote, by contrast, snaps out and back before ending in the same position as soto-uke. Here, here. Seen from the side, soto-uke, soto-uke, soto-yokote, soto-yokote. Okay? Again, out and back. And like uchi-yokote, which goes through jodan on its way back, or on its way out and back, rather, the same is true of soto-yokote. Here. So it goes out and back. Out and back. You'll also notice that in this technique, this part of the body opens up quite a bit more. This is an opportunity to add additional power here by contracting this muscle. By contrast, in soto-uke, this muscle is already kind of contracted. There's not a whole lot of range of motion here. In here, bigger range of motion. Here, to allow pull back. Same thing, less of the same thing, but still a little bit present in uchi-uke. Uchi-uke here, contract, down. Uchi-yokote, here. Okay? Larger space here, more opportunity to contract and contribute to the technique. Lastly, let's talk about, pardon me, Geiran Barai and Geiran Haraite. Now you'll notice that Barai and Harai sound very similar, and they're actually the same word in Japanese. There are some linguistic rules in Japanese that often that will swap certain sounds. So honbu or honbu is an example, or kofu and kohu. There's a city in Japan. So depending on how you want to pronounce particular parts of it, both of those are correct. So Geiran Haraite, Geiran Barai, they're downward sweeps. Geiran Haraite adds the hand technique to the name. And these are, this one I think is probably the one that is least understood in terms of the difference between the two. So when you look at Geiran Barai, here, and it's a fairly linear sweep, again, down the hikite arm, here, here, here. Geiran Haraite, by contrast, actually does not start on the opposite shoulder, rather. It starts on the same side as the technique arm. So the first part of this technique is actually here, and you'll notice the position of my arm. It's vertical. The part that's going to lead this technique is actually the elbow. Okay? So Geiran Barai, it's kind of led by the hand here. Geiran Haraite, clearly led by the elbow. Okay? What you'll notice here is, like the soto-yokote and uchi-yokote techniques, you're covering more than one level, right? So in uchi-yokote and soto-yokote, you're covering center and jodan. Here, okay? Here. Geiran Haraite, you are covering jodan, chudan, and geiran, okay? Here, jodan, chudan, geiran, and potentially ending with a technique, with a strike. Here, here, okay? Geiran Barai, you're covering chudan and gedan. No jodan. Okay, so very different in that respect. There's a lot of whipping motion again with gedan haraite. Here, lead with the elbow, bring this across. Here, snap, snap. Okay, from the side, gedan barai. Here, here, gedan haraite. Gedan barai, gedan haraite. Okay. So as you think about those, these are, again, very different in a lot of ways, similar in others. I think the naming, more than anything, probably creates some confusion. But as you see, they are different techniques. And so when you look at the techniques that are in our Ryobu-Kai kata, the Taisabaki katas, Shimpa, Seryu, any of these things that look like they might be an ageuke or an uchiuke or a gedanbarai, they're not. They're an agete or an uchiyokote or a gedan haraite. And that can present, they present some challenges in terms of how you execute in kata, right? So there are points where you are changing direction. Let's use let's use Taisabaki Shodan as an example. Okay, so the first part here, right, gedan haraite, as you turn, gedan haraite needs to start on this side of the head. Okay, the beginning of the beginning of Taisabaki Shodan is not this. That is incorrect. Okay, it is from the other side of the head and around. Okay, and as you move through all of these kata, there will be points, particularly when you turn, right, as we're doing here. It's a 90-degree turn. There are some 180-degree turns. We really have to make sure that you're executing gedan haraite and not gedan barai, because properly done in the Ryobu-Kai kata, they are gedan haraite, agete, uchiyokote, sotoyokote. Okay, so likewise on anything that looks like an ageuke, not here, should be here. Okay, subtle differences. So just to review, the naming, uke versus te, reflects more of a defensive mindset for uke and more of an all-purpose mindset for te. Execution-wise, the te techniques tend to cover more levels. Often the uke techniques cover one, maybe two levels. By that I mean gedan barai covers 2 levels of chudan and gedan. Gedan haraite covers 3. Uchiuke covers 1. Uchiyokote covers 2. And so there's much more of a whipping motion generally in the te techniques. And then lastly, in the kata for Ryobu-Kai, it's really important that you make sure that you are doing these type of techniques within the kata that belong to Shindo Jinen Ryu. I hope this has been helpful. Keep training, do your best, and I'll see you next time. ありがとうございました。